Okay, students, hope you all can hear me. So let's start our paper discussion. This is our first second part paper, right? You can see the number here. Second part paper number one, right? Okay. So this is a structured questions paper. So you have to answer 5 questions, right? That means you have to select either three from part one or part two, right? So if you select 3 questions from part one, you can select only two from part two, right? If you select 3 questions from part two, you can select only 2 questions from part one, right? Okay. That's it. That is how it's going. Uh, okay. Then let's start discuss question number one, right? So question number one is what? So read the question, right? Shashid Woods Manufacturing Company is a business that produces large-scale wooden furniture and plastic products. This institution manufactures various types of wooden and plastic products required by consumers and businesses, right? First of all, students, when you are trying to do a paper, right, just read everything, right? Just read the instructions, right? And all the instructions in all the papers are almost similar. කියන හැම වෙලාවෙම හැම ප්‍රශ්නෙම ඇවිල්ලා මේ හැම ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍රයේම තියෙන ඉන්ස්ට්‍රක්ෂන් සමානයි. නමුත් ඔයාලා සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්න ඕනේ සමහර වෙලාවට පොඩි වෙනස්කම් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. There might be some few differences, right? Okay. So this question is saying Shashit Wood Manufacturing Company is a business that produces large scale wooden furniture. So it's producing wooden furniture, right? So it's doing production in large scale, right? So when you are reading the paper, right? So if you saw something, right? If you saw something, just underline it, just underline or highlight it, right? You are not using highlight. It is better not use highlighters in the exam, but you can have your pen, no? You have your pen, no? You can underline, right? So for my convenience, I'm just highlighting the important things, right? Then those things will be helpful because most of the time these second part questions are having structured questions, right? Second part paper is having structured questions. So sometimes there might be a big paragraph, sometimes there might be so small paragraph. So since this was a small paragraph, it was okay. But if it is a large paragraph, you should make sure to underline everything that was important to you, right? Okay, so here it's saying, right, name two main types of resources that is that this business is likely to use for production activities and give one example for each, right? So I have some few people's answers, right? So one answer is saying that so first one is correct. Human resource, right? Employees are one party, one resource that the this business is using, right? So one resource is human resource. As an example, we can get employees, right? So other answer is capital resource. So the one who have written the answer is wrote plastic, right? It was correct, right? It was correct, but when we are getting capital resources, right? When we are getting capital resources, the example might be more aligned with the definition of capital, right? So what is capital then? Capital is something that man-made thing that is using for production, right? So if the capital is using something for production, right? Man-made item that is using for production, right? We should take something like machine or vehicle or something that is more useful in production, right? So we can take examples like uh, wooden machines, right? Wood cutting machines, and also we can take like uh, plastic product manufacturing machines. Likewise, even vehicles, right? So we can take those examples, right? So yeah, for the first question, those are the answers. If you want, right? Just write that down if your answers are wrong, right? Okay. Then there is another question. The next question is saying that classify the products manufactured by business according to the purpose of buyers who use them and give examples, right? So the question is saying to classify the products manufactured by business according to the purpose of the buyers who use them and give examples. So what are the products manufactured by this business? According to the purpose, right? That is the key thing. That is the thing that you should highlight. So here it's asking according to the purpose. According to the purpose, there is two types of goods. There is two types of products, right? First one is consumer goods, right? Consumer goods. Actually, goods we can define it as like goods selling for the final consumption, goods selling for the final consumer, right? Then there is capital industrial goods. Then there is industrial goods. Industrial goods are the goods used to produce that consumer goods, right? So the next answer is industrial goods according to the purpose, right? According to the purpose, there are two types: consumer goods and industrial goods, right? Okay. Then we are moving to the next question, right? So these two questions you can get 2 marks for each, right? 2 marks for each. For part A, there is 2 marks. For part B, there is 2 marks, and collectively altogether it was 4 marks, right? Then question number 2: state 4 characteristics of business and briefly explain them. Uh, I saw that, right? There are some students that they have given these characteristics, but not define those, right? Why? What is the reason? You can simply written the answers. No, you can simply you can describe even by your words, right? No need to be textbook words, right? If you written the correct answers, right, it is easy to define them. No, the what happened is, what is the issue, the issue is, right, you are not reading the questions properly, right? Make sure to read everything properly, right? Okay. Then okay, next question: state 4 characteristics of business and briefly explain them, right? Okay, we can list one characteristic, right? Businesses are fulfilling human needs and wants, right? That is one answer, right? So you can describe that thing, right? Very easy now, right? Businesses are manufacturing goods and services according to the expectations of customers to fulfill their needs and wants, right? Simply define it, right? Just write some words, right? If it is correct, you might receive marks. If it is not, they're not cutting your marks, right? There is no there is nothing like they are minimizing marks if you write wrong answers, right? Just write something, right? Okay. Then we can get another example like earning profit or wealth maximization, right? Another characteristic. And another thing that we can get as a characteristics: every business have risk and uncertainty, right? Every business is having risks, right? Okay, you can define it like this. So businesses are operating in dynamic environment. So in these dynamic environments, there are different changes are happening, right? So there are many risks, right? Okay. Then another thing that we can get as a characteristic is regular transactions, right? There are regular transactions, right? If the company, if the business is doing only one transaction, it is not a business, right? So there must be regular transactions, right? Continuous transactions, right? Then next expectation that we can get is earning profit or wealth maximization, right? So the businesses one behavior, right, one single behavior of a business is earning profits, and they are making profits. There are some organizations that are not in purpose of making profits. but most of the business, so the most of the businesses or business organizations have the purpose of making profit, or else we can say the benefit or benefit of the members, right? Benefit of the members, right? Okay. Then we are moving to next question, right? If you write something more than my answers, if you write something additional, if you write something additional to rather than my answers, you can say it, right? Okay, we are moving to the next question. Name a manufacturing organization and explain two main activities carried out by that business with examples, right? Okay, you can get any business organization, but it's better if you are getting a famous organization, right? So I saw some students have written like uh, pharmaceutical company or bakery, cake manufacturing company. Likewise, they have written like that, but it's better if you can write, but you should make sure to read the question very well, right? After that, so it's better if you write a famous company in Sri Lanka. There are a lot of famous companies in Sri Lanka, no? Right? So we can actually get an example like Ceylon Biscuit Limited, CBL, or Manchi is a CBL company, no? So actually we can take activities like they are doing manufacturing, right? These Munchie is doing operations actually, right? Production activity. Actually, operations are the main activity in the company. No, any organization, the main activity that they are doing is operations management, right? Okay. So actually, you can write under that. You can write under that converting inputs into outputs. Actually, converting raw material into finished goods, right? So you can define that thing like that, right? Then there is marketing activities, right? Marketing activities. Then there is human resource activities, right? Then there is financial activities. You can define those things, right? So it's better if you write the answer related to that Manchi company, because you got that example, no? So it's better you can write converting the ingredients into a biscuit, right? So after you wrote converting inputs into outputs or converting raw materials into end product, you can write as an example converting flour into a biscuit. Likewise, you can write answers related to that example that you got, right? Okay. Then we are moving to the next question. Name two external environmental forces of your school and write one examples, each of threats they create to school. Right? External environmental factors or forces. Okay. Let's get an example like this. There is external environment, government. Right? Okay. We can get government as an external environment. So government policies sometimes affect school. Right? So think government is having a policy like we should end schools at 12 p.m. Right? So actually that is an threat to the school, no, because it was reducing the time frame that students can learn, because schools are actually usually end at 1:30 p.m. no, so that teachers have to cover up lot of things in few hours, right? That is actually a threat. Likewise, we can get another example like technological environment, right? So actually, the technology, the educational technologies are advancing day by day, right? So think your school is not yet updated in new technologies. What happened? It was threat to your school, no? So think your school is a government school. So there are private schools with lot of technological advanced teaching techniques and infrastructures, right? So it is a threat to your government school, no? I think you are having a private school, right? You are studying in a private school. So your private school having competitors, right? So your private school is having competitors that are using advanced technologies. That is something, right? That is a threat to your school, right? Okay. Then we are moving to the next question. Please raise questions if you have, right? I'm explaining these things. If you are raise questions, I can describe those things very easily, right? Then next one. Write 4 factors that a business should pay attention in order to ensure environmental sustainability, right? Write 4 factors that a business should pay attention in order to ensure environmental sustainability. So to environmental sustainability, the businesses can do different things, right? So first one is actually we can use concepts like 4R, 3R, right? So actually those are 3R means reduce, reuse, and recycle. No? So if it is 4R, replace is adding to that, right? So reduce, reuse, and recycle, we can use 4R concepts like 4R to environmental sustainability. Okay. Then another thing that we can get like conservation of natural resources, right? We can conserve natural resources for environmental sustainability, right? Then energy efficiency, right? So we are using energy items now. So the question is asking, right, for factors, no. So when the question is asking factors, it doesn't matter, right? It's fine, right? But if it's asking to explain, so you should understand the question first, right? If it is asking to briefly explain, or if it is asking to give examples, right? You should definitely give examples, right? If it is asking explain them, you should definitely explain them, right? Okay. You should read the question first and get an idea what the question is asking properly, right? Okay. Then next thing that we can use for sustainability of environment, we can use pollution prevention, right? So businesses are doing a lot of polluting things, right? The so for ensure environmental sustainability, business can prevent from pollution. Okay. Then the next question, we are moving to next question, right? Name 4 parties towards whom a business should fulfill social responsibilities, and state one social responsibility that should be fulfilled towards each party. Uh, it is asking name 4 parties towards whom a business should fulfill social responsibility. So I saw some answers, right? So those are answers. So this is something very easy, I have teach you this lesson also, right? So there is only 4 parties, right? So the fourth party we can divide into 3 parts, right? What are the parties that we can fulfill that uh, social responsibility? So let me check that answer. Okay. So someone wrote only 3, right? So if you want to get the all the four marks, right? You should give their expectation, right? You should give the 4 answers, right? So if it is a 4 marks question, you should definitely give 4 factors at least 4 factors, right? So customers, employees, and someone wrote government, right? Government is something that was coming under fourth section. What is fourth section? So let's discuss from the beginning. First one is owners, right? We should do uh, social responsibilities to owners, right? So then we should do social responsibilities to customers, right? Then we should do social responsibilities to employees, right? Then what is the other one? What is the other one? Can someone give me the answer? What is the other party? If you know, give me the answer to the inbox. Some students that they have written that answer, but I think only one have the all the 4 marks to this. Only one person got only 4 marks to this. Okay, Tarun, can you give me the answer? Let me check. Customer owner. Society, yes. Society is the exact answer, right? So the businesses should fulfill social responsibilities to the society. Then we can divide this society into three parts, right? So someone has written government, right? Government is coming under this society. Right? Oh, okay. There is government, environment, and also community, right? So we can divide that society into three parts. Write down environment, government, and community, right? Okay, then it was asking state one social responsibility that should be fulfilled towards each party, right? If you have written only the parties, you got only half marks, right? If you if you wrote both the social responsibilities and parties, you can get all the 4 marks, right? So what are the social responsibilities that we can do towards customers? Simply we can say providing quality goods and services, right? Then for employees, we can say providing, so paying salary on time, right? That is a social responsibility towards uh, workers, right? Employees. Then for owners, we can say ensuring enough return for them, or else we can say ensuring a reasonable return for the owners, right? That is something that we can do towards owners, right? Then community, then creating employment opportunities for the community. We can create employment opportunity under community. There is employment, no? So we can do uh, plantation programs, right? Then we for the government, we can pay taxes on time, right? Those are the social responsibilities that we can do towards the society, right? Under society, there are three parties: community, and government, and the environment. Likewise, we can write the social responsibilities like that. Okay, we are moving to the part B, right? Okay, so here you are not getting all the 4 marks, right? So 2 marks for this part, right? Only 2 marks, right? If you have written all the 4 parties, you are getting only 1 mark, right? If you have written all the 4 social responsibilities that you have, so that for all those parties, you can get another 1 mark. Then collectively, you are getting only 2 marks for that question, right? So you should be more tactical, right? You should be more strategic when you are writing answers, right? If it is have less marks, you can actually write only facts, right? You can actually write only simple answers. But if the question is having 4 marks, or if it is a simple question that contains 4 marks, right? You should write enough answers for that four, right? So the practice that we are getting through these paper discussions are very important, right? So some people are only coming to the class and listen to the videos. Actually, they are watching only videos, right? So I'm give an example, right? So if you watch, or if you read 100 books related to doing push-ups, right? Can you do a push-up? You are reading 100 books to hit a push-up. You can't hit even one push-up by reading books. But if you are trying to hit push-ups, right? If you're trying to do push-ups by yourself, only you can starting, right? So just start writing papers. Just do it, right? And just come into this paper discussion. Otherwise, you won't be a master in this writing, right? You should be a master in writing unless you are not getting enough marks, right? So just participate paper discussions. Just do the papers and send answers to me, right? I will check your marks and I will give you a feedback. And again, you can master your writing, right? And also you can reduce your mistakes. Next time you are not doing these mistakes, definitely, right? I'm saying this in my experience, right? If you done one paper and you are moving forward to another paper, right? You actually reduce a lot of mistakes, right? You can actually get in a lot of experience from that, right? Okay, then we are moving to the next question. Any government, so no, we have to discuss right for uh, technical principles that can be included in business code of ethics related to human resource management, right? Okay, ethical principles that can be included in business code of ethics related to related to what? Related to human resource management, right? uh should you should read the question very well before you are starting your answers, right? It was asking code of ethics related to human resource management. What are the code of ethics related to human resource management? First one is equity, right? So first one that employees are expecting is equity, right? Okay, then actually equity is like ensuring fair treatment to everyone in the organization, right? Ensuring fair treatment for all employees, right? Then the next one, fair remuneration, right? Fair remuneration for human resource, right? Then providing salaries and benefits that match employees' effort, right? So then next one, we can write respect for employees' rights and privacy, right? So everyone is having privacy, right? Everyone is having rights, right? We should ensure to fulfill those rights of employees, right? We should give uniforms to them. We should give enough medication to them, right? Meditation, not meditation, just medication, right? If something happened to the employees, right, we should definitely give the enough meditation. No, medication, right? So medication is also important for employees because the lot of companies in Sri Lanka is having a lot of stress, right? So due to that, meditation is also very important, right? Okay, then okay, we can move to the second question. If you have doubts in first question, right, you can ask from me, right? You can ask from me anytime, right? Okay, then we are moving to the next question. Question number two, right? It was saying that any government intervenes in and influences business activities in order to achieve its economic objectives. The Sri Lankan government also acts in this manner and has established various government institutions to regulate business activities. Uh, the question is asking state for ways in the government influences business activities, right? Recently we have discussed this question, right? Recently we have discussed this thing in our revision. Okay. Um, how government can influence businesses, right? One thing that we can say, um, government is the one who formulating policies, right? We can say government influences businesses by uh, formulating policies, right? Okay, then another thing, right? You can actually even explain that thing, but since you are gaining only 2 marks, right? I said you earlier you should be tactical. If you are getting only 2 marks, you can write only 4 facts, right? That is enough. Do not describe it, right? So state 4 ways, right? The question is asking state 4 ways, right? So they are asking for only 4 ways. No need to explain that thing, right? Then another thing that they are involving or influencing business activities by giving infrastructure, right? The businesses, the government is intervening or the influencing businesses by giving infrastructure. Then another thing that we can write, acting as a competitor, right? Acting as a competitor, government influence businesses by acting as a competitor, right? We have discussed that there are television government television channels that they are working as a competitors, right? Then actually we can say another thing, legislation, right? Government intervening businesses in legislation, right? They are actually introducing new laws, rules and regulations, right? So those are the ways that government can influence business activities, right? Then next question, name for government institutions that contribute to the regulation of business activities, right? So there are a lot of government institutions. You can write any organization, right? So we can say, we can write the first organization that we are coming to mind, CBSL, or we can say Central Bank of Sri Lanka, right? They are actually regulating banking sector, and financial sector, right? So we can write actually you can write the examples as well as you can actually even write the area that they are regulating, right? So you can write CBSL or Central Bank of Sri Lanka. You can write also, but since there is only 2 marks, but this question, right? Name for government institutions that contribute to the regulation of business activities. Actually, if you write an institution and also the way that they are regulating, it is better, right? The one who checking answers is thinking you are a genius, right? If you write that, right? Not Do not write only the uh, organization or the institution, just write the way that they are regulating the businesses, right? Okay, you can write CBSL and regulates the banking sector, right? CBSL is regulating banking sector. Then you can write Consumer Affairs Authority, CAA. Consumer Affairs Authority is protect consumer rights and regulates unfair traders, unfair trades, right? So they are actually protect consumer rights and regulate unfair trade, right? Then another organization that we can take, Department of Register of Companies, right? Department of Register, right? They are registering businesses in Sri Lanka, right? Then we can take another organization like Sri Lanka Standard Institution, right? SLS, Sri Lanka Standard Institution. So we are actually saying like SLSI, Sri Lanka Standard Institution, right? So they are giving standards to the products or services, right? Likewise, you can take those examples and also you should write the way the government involving regulation, right? Okay. If you have any doubts, please ask from me, right? Unmute your mic and ask from me anyway. If it is uncomfortable with you, just send me a text, right? So if you have a quick question, please raise hand, right? Then I'm stop describing. Please raise your hand and put your question in your inbox, right? So if you are confident, please unmute your mic and you can ask questions, right? Anyway, let's continue. State 2 ways in which imposing taxes on imports when implementing fiscal policy affects local businesses. I state 2 ways in which imposing taxes on imports when implementing fiscal policy affect local businesses. So it's asking how the imposing taxes affects local businesses, right? So we can take one way. Actually, then here it's saying like, so first you should read the question very well, right? Imposing taxes on imports, right? When the government is taxing on imports, what happen, right? Local competitors or the local producers are protect from that, right? Local producers can protect from that, right? Okay, then you can write like this, right? Increase competitiveness and local substitute products. Increase competitiveness and uh increase competitiveness of local substitute products. Increase competition on local substitute products. Think as an example, there are a lot of shoes are importing, right? So there are a lot of shoes are importing to our country, right? Think the government is imposing a tax on that imports, right? Then local shoe manufacturers have a good market, or they can actually sell their goods in a better price because imports are already higher cost because of the taxes. So the uh, producers can be saved from these import taxes on the imports, right? Then another thing that we can write increases the production cost of local businesses reliant on foreign raw materials. So that is negative thing, right? So we earlier discussed a positive thing. Now this is a negative thing because increase in the production cost of local businesses because they are importing raw materials. Then lot of local businesses are actually relying on foreign imports, right? They are actually using foreign raw materials to produce goods, right? So that is a negative thing, right? Okay. Then let's move to the next question. If you have any questions, please ask from me. Again, I'm repeating. Then next question. Explain how reducing reserve requirements when implementing monetary policy can create inflationary effects within the economy. Uh, Explain how reducing reserve requirements when implementing monetary policy can create inflationary effects within the economy. What happened when reduce reserve requirements? Uh, think the government means central bank reduces reserve requirements. We have discussed this thing in the monetary policy, right? So the thing the central bank is reducing these reserve requirements. Then what happened? Okay, I saw some question. Yeah, that is actually usual. It depends on the question, Buddha, right? So think the question is asking name for government institutions, right? So you should then only you can only name, right? So then this question let's get this question. State two ways in imposing taxes on employment when implementing fiscal policy affect local business. Uh, State two ways, right? So it is only having 2 marks, but it's saying state two ways. But when the question is asking only 2 ways, right? Don't don't depend on that two facts, right? Actually you can describe some to some extent, right? So this is actually a common sense when we are writing paper, right? So this is since this is the first question paper, you are not getting that sense, right? So think this might be your fifth waiver, right? You are attempting your fifth waiver. Definitely, you got the sense how much that I should write to this question. How much that I write to the to get full marks, right? That's why I said you to everyone to send me the question, then send me the answers to me, right? Then I can check your answers and give you marks, and then you can actually reduce your mistakes again and again, right? Okay, I hope going forward everyone send answers to me. Anyway, so here, right, it's better to describe, right? In this question, it's better to describe one way, right? Let's get that negative thing, increase the production cost of local businesses, right? You can actually describe that thing because you can describe like most of the businesses are depending on imported raw materials in production, right? So if the government is taxing on the imports, right, they have to bear more cost, and they are increasing the prices. When the prices are increasing, their sales will be low, right? So likewise, you can write some simple description, because since you are getting, even though you write long answers, you are getting only 2 marks, right? So be more tricky, right? Be more having be ensure to have a paper sense, right? You should have more sense in writing, right? Okay, then now we move into the next question. Uh, we are discussing how reducing reserve requirements when implementing monetary policy can create inflationary effect. Then, what happens when the reserve requirements are reduced by the central bank? When the central bank reduce these reserve requirements, actually the commercial banks have commercial banks can allocate a lot of funds to give loans, right? When they are giving loans, right? When they are giving loans, what happened? The businessmen are borrowing that money, and they are manufacturing goods, right? When they are manufacturing goods, what happened? Prices of the products will be quite low, right? When the prices of the products quite low, inflation will be reduced. That is one way, right? Uh, then you can watch this question in another aspect, right? So that is the most general and most common way, right? When the central bank is reducing statutory reserve requirements, what happened? The uh, the commercial banks are having a lot of funds to give loans, right? When the commercial banks are giving loans, what happened? The money supply is increasing. When the money supply is increasing, what happened? When the money supply is increasing, prices actually, the inflation is rising, right? So you can describe that in a two ways, right? Either of that, either think you wrote that since there is a lot of production, the prices are getting low, right? That is also correct. Another thing, since there is a money supply is increasing, you can say when there is a lot of money supply, what happen? Prices are increasing, inflation is happening, right? Though both the ways are correct, right? But you have to make sure write down that thing clearly and properly with examples, right? Okay. So you can get 2 marks for that, right? Then the next question. As a consumer who fulfills consumer responsibilities, state 4 ways in which you can maintain your consumption pattern in an environmentally friendly manner, right? As a consumer who fulfills consumer responsibilities, state 4 ways in which you can maintain your consumption patterns in environmental friendly manner, right? So when we are discussing consumer responsibilities, there are responsibilities that we can do towards environment, right? So that environment is coming under society, right? What are the actually it was asking 4 ways, right? What are the 4 ways that we can do to conserve environment? So one way we can refuse non-biodegradable packages, right? So actually it was a question that I have giving you uh 2 marks, no, right? Just State four ways. Just state four ways. You don't need to explain those things. But it's better. Uh, so if you are having a lot of time, right? So this is also coming when you are practicing papers, right? So think averagely when you are writing your answers, you have remaining since think you only take only 2.5 hours to write answers for second part questions, right? So for second part paper, but you are having 3 hours and 15 minutes more. Then you can describe these things, right? You can check your average time that you are getting to write answers, right? If you are writing very fast, right? You are remaining half and another 15 minutes, right? So actually you are having another 45 minutes. Then you can write brief answers, right? No one is cut down your marks when you're writing answers in brief, but but there should be facts, right? But there should be the exact answers, and if you have a lot of time, right, you can explain those things for some extent, right? So then the examiner or the one who check your paper will think they are thinking like you are a genius, right? Then they are trying to give full marks to you, right? So everything every these practices is coming when you are writing papers, right? So don't skip paper writing, right? Okay, then next question. Yeah, we have to discuss the ways that yeah, four ways that you can maintain your consumption pattern in environmental friendly manner, right? So as a consumer responsibilities, right, we can actually refuse non-biodegradable packaging. Actually, you can, as an example, you can, as a description, if you are describing more, right, you can write declining single-use plastic polythene bags, right, as a description, as an explanation, right? Then we can take another example, reducing we can take choosing reusable alternatives, right? As an example, as a description, as an explanation, you can write opting for products that can be reduced or refilled rather than disposable versions, right? We can use as an example cloth bags, right? Glass bottles. If you are drinking water, you can use glass bottles, right? Then another thing that we can take, right? Properly separating and recycling waste. Properly separating and recycling waste, right? You can explain that thing like this, right? Disposing of consumed waste by separating organic, plastic, and paper items to facilitate clean recycling loops, right? So you can actually divide those things into different bins, right? So there are actually specific garbage bins for papers. There are specific garbage bins for polythenes. Likewise, you can do that properly separating and recycling waste. You can do that thing, right? Then another thing that we can take is reducing total consumption, right? So some people actually purchasing things and also they are not using those things, right? Actually, we can say it properly like this: reducing unusual consumption, right? Reducing unusual consumptions. When you reduce unusual consumptions, actually your wasteful habits will be disappear, and you only buying commodities that you want, right? So these are things that you can fulfill consumer responsibilities as a consumer, right? Okay. Uh, we are moving to the next part, right? Mention the type of business organization related to the following business names, right? What kind of business organization is this? Lanka Electricity Company, LECO. We can say it like LECO, right? LECO might be familiar to you, but not the Lanka Electricity Company. Like, oh, so this is a private limited company, but government is dominating the shareholding, right? This is a private limited company, right? You can write here, right? It is a private limited company, but within bracket write down state dominated shareholding, right? The government has a lot of shares in this like corporation, right? Lanka Electricity Corporation, Lanka Electricity Company, private limited. Then Pereira and Sons. What kind of company is this? Give me answer. Give me an answer in the chat box. You can send it privately. Give me an answer. I want that answer from you. Okay. Everyone is writing this as a partnership business, right? So actually, this is not a partnership business, right? Even though that name is like Pereira and Sons, it is not a partnership. Actually, it was a private limited company now, right? So you should make sure that you should remember that is a private limited company now, right? Actually, a lot of students are writing that answer, right? It is not an uh, it is just a private limited company, right? Not a partnership. Okay, then what is Sri Lanka Standards Institution? What is Sri Lanka Standards Institution? It is a statutory board or it is a state corporation. Write down. It is a state corporation. If your answer is wrong, write down. It is a state corporation. Right? Then Sri Lanka Telecom Mobitel. Give me that answer. It is very simple. It is very easy. Give me that answer. Yes, it is a public limited company. It is a PLC. Sri Lanka Telecom Mobitel is a PLC company, public limited company. Right? Okay, we are moving to the fourth question. The fourth question is asking a registered company is a separate legal entity independent from its members. Accordingly, state four legal functions that incorporated company can perform. Uh, the question is asking according to it was saying that they are having a legal entity, right? So they have independency, right? So what are the four legal functions that an incorporated company can perform? Okay, so if your answers are correct, right? Just check your answers, right? If your answers are wrong, write down these ones, right? First one is own and hold a property, right? Own and hold a property, right? So these entities, right? These business entities, since they are having separate legal entity, they can own and hold properties on the business's name, right? Then actually you can describe that like this can purchase, hold, and sell movable or immovable assets, right? Then we are moving to the next thing that they can do enter into valid contracts, right? They can enter into contracts in their business name, right? They can enter into contracts in their business name, right? Then next one is sue or and be sued. What is sue and be sued means? They can take legal actions towards other parties, and also the other parties can take legal actions on your business name, right? That is sue and be sued, right? SUE, sue, and be sued. SUE D, right? Okay, then next one, income liabilities and debts, right? You can take loans on your business name, right? You can take liabilities, you can take debts, right? So these are the things that a legal entity can do by itself, right? Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask from me. We are moving to the next question. We are moving to the next question. Explain the difference between offshore companies and foreign companies. Right? There are some differences between offshore companies and foreign companies. Right? So we are going to discuss these differences between offshore companies. Okay, let's read the question again. Explain the difference between offshore companies and foreign companies. Okay. So what happened? What happened in offshore companies? Okay, a company, right? It was incorporated in think or it was an offshore company of Sri Lanka, right? It was incorporated in Sri Lanka, but they don't have right to do business in Sri Lanka. Actually, they are doing the business in other countries, right? So actually you can write actually so this is something that asking differences, no? Right? When you are asking differences, when the question is asking differences, right? Definitely divide your paper into two parts like this, right? So take one part to write offshore company, then you can write foreign companies here, right? Then you can write if there is no any lot of facts, right? You can actually write for initially the definition, right? So actually, offshore companies actually incorporated in Sri Lanka under the Companies Act, but registered exclusively carried on business operations outside the territorial boundaries of Sri Lanka, right? So offshore companies you can write right after you wrote the definition. Offshore companies are registered in Sri Lanka but not doing operations in Sri Lanka, right? Foreign companies, right? They can register in their countries and also they can do operations in their countries. And you can write uh, offshore companies, right? Offshore for the actually foreign companies, right? Actually, it was a corporate body incorporated outside in Sri Lanka, right? So they can actually do their things, do their business practices in Sri Lanka as well as they actually do they can do business practices outside the world, outside our country, not world, right? Then under the laws of a foreign nation that establish active registered branch office or place of a business within Sri Lanka, it was acting like a branch, right? So if it is think foreign company, there was a foreign company, right, that actually operates in Sri Lanka. So the thing that is a foreign company of Sri Lanka, right? See that the thing that is operating India, right? So India, they have another branch, right? Actually, these foreign companies have branch system, but these offshore companies is doesn't have branch system. They actually operating registered in one company and doing their businesses in another company, but they should register in that company that government's companies act also, right? Okay, that is the difference between offshore companies and foreign companies, right? Okay, then we are moving to the next question, right? State four advantages of cooperative business when compared to other private sector businesses, right? Okay, advantages. You can write. So it was asking state four advantages, right? If you have written the exact answers, you are receiving all the 2 marks for that, right? But if you have any doubt, right, please definitely you should explain those, right? If you have any doubt, right, definitely you can explain those things, right? Because in that explanation, if there is facts, right, they are giving answers, they are giving marks to you, right? Otherwise, if you are lazy in doing, if in defining that, right, you are not getting you are not getting marks if that answer is wrong, right? But since you have written the wrong answer, wrong fact, but you have described that thing for some extent, in that description, there might be a fact, right? There might be a correct answer, right? Then they are giving, they are putting correct in there and giving marks, right? Giving reasonable marks for that. Then the first thing is that we can say democratic management control, right? Then another thing that we can write, limited liability of members, right? Limited liability of members, right? Then next one is social or community orientation over profit maximization, right? Community orientation over profit maximization, right? Community orientation, right? Then next one is continuous succession, right? Continuous succession. That what is meaning of continuous succession? They have actually the legal existence of the cooperative is actually perpetual and unaffected by death, right? So I think the members think one of our biggest member in a cooperative dies, but they have continuous succession, so they are not going to stop that company, right? They are actually operating that cooperative for long time, right? Then the next one, Sri Lankan entrepreneur. So we are moving to the next question, right? If you have any doubts, please ask from me. Then Sri Lanka entrepreneurs are expanding internationally famous branded businesses in Sri Lanka as franchise businesses. What advantages do those Sri Lankan entrepreneurs gain through that franchises, right? You can write answers like these, right? First one, you can write utilization of an established brand identity, right? This is already an established brand, right? So since it is a global brand, people actually the risk is very low because it is already an established one. So people know about this, right? People are coming and purchasing since already it was registered, since already it was famous, right? Then next one, lowered risk of business failure, right? Actually, these franchises having less business failure. If you manage to do business, if you manage to find a correct audience for your business, right? The business definitely uh, having a continuous succession, right? Then continuous manager training and technical support, right? Since it is a franchise, right? The franchise owner, right? The franchise or the one who have the ownership of that franchise will be supporting you technically and financially, definitely, right? Then they are giving actually managerial support and technical supports, and also sometimes they are giving financial supports. The next one is global marketing and advertising scale, right? So the local entrepreneurs benefit directly from the regional or global marketing campaigns, right? Think you have a franchise to Pizza Hut, right? Pizza Hut is actually doing their marketing by the owner itself, right? They are doing marketing campaigns, right? So they can actually directly affect our business profitability, right? Then we are moving to the next question. Uh, yeah. So we have discussed about franchises, right? What are the advantages that the franchise owner, franchisee and franchises are getting, right? We are moving to the third question. Write three examples of activities engaged through entrepreneurship. Uh, Write three examples of activities engaged through entrepreneurship, right? So, examples of activities engaged through entrepreneurships. Okay, what are so here it's asking not the features, right? The activities that the entrepreneurs are doing, right? So sometimes when I saw some answers, I saw some answers. They actually wrote features of entrepreneur, right? Here it was not asking features or the qualities, right? It was asking activities, right? then you can write activities that they are doing, right? uh, First one you can write, right? Introducing a complex new product or service, right? One thing that they are doing is uh, introducing new product or service, introducing new product or service, right? Introducing new product or service. Then you can write leadership, right? They are engaged in leadership, right? So they are doing leading. And another thing that you can write, they are doing management, right? Entrepreneurs, even the entrepreneurs are also managers, right? They are managing their businesses, right? But not all the managers are not entrepreneurs, right? But entrepreneurs can become managers, right? Then management is doing by entrepreneurs. Then problem solving is there, right? That those entrepreneurs are doing problem solving, right? Okay. Then there's a question like briefly explain the relationship between entrepreneurship and economic development, right? So this is actually a easy question. It was kind of a piece of cake, right? So you can write this answer by your practical knowledge, right? Okay, let's discuss this relationship between entrepreneurship and economic development. Actually, entrepreneurs are acting as primary driving engine of economic development. Actually, entrepreneurs are the one who are doing investments. They are the one who giving employment. They are the one who giving business opportunities, right? So when there was entrepreneurs in the society, they are the economy, right? Economy have a lot of advantages, right? So actually the government, if this when a country is developing, right, that country is developing due to these entrepreneurs, right? They are innovating things, right? So for the economic development, when they are starting new businesses, right, the production or the GDP will be increased, right? Then the employment will be increased, right? Then the profitability and the fair income distribution will be increased within society, right? Likewise, there are a lot of advantages, and those advantages definitely help to the economic development, right? You can build the answer from those activities, and that uh, from those actually from those activities of entrepreneurs, you can build up an answer how from these activities it will help to growth of a country, right? Okay, then if you have any questions, again you can ask free from me, right? Then next one, write 4 steps of an entrepreneur process in order, right? Okay, 4 steps you can write like this, right? Identifying and evaluating the opportunity, identifying opportunities. First one, first step, right? Identifying opportunities. Next one, next one, developing business plan. Identifying opportunities, developing business plan, right? The next one, acquiring required resources, acquiring required resources, acquiring required resources. Then the next one, managing the created enterprise, managing the created enterprise, right? Or we can say start the action plan, right? Managing the created enterprise, or we can say start the action plan. Then finally they can get the outcome or the results, right? Or we can say harvesting, write down harvesting, right? The final step is harvesting. Okay, we are moving to the next question. Briefly explain only one of the following, right? First one is interpersonal skills. So what is an interpersonal skill, right? So this skill is something that everyone should possess, right? Even if you are a high level manager, top level manager, or mid level manager, even you are a low level manager or an employee, right? You should have good interpersonal skills. Otherwise, you can't survive in industries. You can survive in business world, right? So you should have interpersonal skills, right? So interpersonal skill is like this, right? You can interact, you have to ability, you should have the ability to interact, communicate, negotiate, right? Work efficiently, right? Those are interpersonal skills. Then another thing you can define, you can take communication skills, right? Actually, you should have a ability to convey your information to someone, right? Then you should have negotiate with the employees and suppliers and the customers, right? So you should have a proper public speaking and communication skills, right? So you can explain those communication skills like that, right? Okay. Now we are moving to the next question. State respectively the two institutions that have recommended that invested capital should be less than 4 million and 20 million as criteria used in defining small business, right? So the first criteria, first category, 4 million benchmark was given by, write down, Ministry of Industrial Development, right? Ministry of Industrial Development. Ministry of Industrial Development. The second one, right? Okay, sorry. Less than 4 million is not given by it was given by Industrial Development (IDB). Right? Sorry, my bad. Right? 4 million benchmark was given by Industrial Development Board. Right? So that the 20 million category, right? 20 million benchmark given by Ministry of Industrial Development. Right? Ministry of Industrial Development. Right? Okay. So you can have 2 marks for that. Right? So we are moving to the next question. Name 4 institutions that provide consultancy service as incentives for small and medium scale enterprises. Name 4 institutions that provide consultancy services as incentives for small and medium scale enterprises. Actually, we can have Industrial Development Board, right? And Export Development Board, right? IDB, EDB, and we can take an also NIDA means National Enterprise Development Authority. National Enterprise Development Authority. Then another thing, the another organization is called Sri Lanka Chamber of Small and Medium Scale Industries. Sri Lanka Chamber of Small and Medium Industries. So those are examples, right? Again, you can take Department of Small Industries also there. Department of Small Industries. Okay. Uh, if you have any doubts on the third question, you can ask from me, right? Now we are moving to the last question for today, right? We are discussing the next first question is in next day, right? Most probably it might be a Thursday or Wednesday, right? Let's see, right? When yeah, so all the recent days in Colombo, right? It was heavy raining, right? But raining doesn't matter in my home place, hometown, because I'm using SLT fiber here, right? So raining can't stop that. Even if there's a power cut, we can't continue the classes. But let's see if there's no heavy rain or something, we can definitely discuss the next 4 questions in next Thursday, right? Okay, so let's go to the fourth question. State in order the first 4 steps in evolution of money. I saw some students having small wrong answers for this, right? So I have discussed this thing now, right? Just watch those recordings, right? So how this evolution of money happens, right? What is the first step? What is the first step that happened? Right? First one is the first money type is commodity money. Right? Commodity money is tangible things like salt and seashells, tobacco products. Right? Those are the first one. Right? Then the next step is metallic money. Right? Next step is metallic money. Right? Those are actually precious metals like gold, silver, and copper. Right? Next one is metallic money. Right? Then the next one is paper money. Right? Next one is paper money. Right? Currency not money. Right? We can even say currency not money. Right? Then the next one is credit money or the bank money. Right? Bank money. It's better to write bank money. Write down bank money. Okay, these are the steps in evolution. Right? I saw someone have written wrong answers. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, moving to the part B, question number 4, and part 1. In there is a part B. There is a legal acceptance for currency money in country. Briefly explain. What we have to explain legal legal acceptance, right? We have to discuss the word called legal acceptance, right? So if you don't have a proper answer, please write down this, right? Please write down this. In Sri Lanka, currency notes and coins issued by central bank. Sri Lanka, currency notes and coins issued by central bank carry legal tender status. Carrying legal tender status. Carrying legal tender status. Carrying legal tender status. This means they are backed by statutory law. This means they are backed by statutory law. This means they are backed by statutory law. They are backed by statutory law. Comma, and a creditor or seller is legally obligated to accept them in say comma, and a creditor or seller is legally obligated. Creditor or seller is legally obligated to accept them in settlement of debt, comma, transaction or financial obligation, refusing to accept valid local currency for transaction, is a punishable legal offense. Is a punishable legal offense. Is a punishable legal offense. All right. So we are moving to the next question. Right? It was asking state 2 objectives of central bank. Also, we have described that thing, right? So actually, in Sri Lanka's currencies, right, they have legal tender, right? Actually, no one can refuse to receive or pay using these valid money, these legally accepted money. So actually, it was a punishable thing, right? Think you are refusing to get a 100 note to a settlement, right? It was a punishable offense, right? Actually, you definitely get that money if there's a trade between two parties, right? So since it was since those money having a legal acceptance, right? Okay, we are moving to the next question. Right, 2 objectives of Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Right, there are 2 main objectives. Right, first one is achieving and maintaining domestic price stability. Right, achieving and maintaining domestic price stability. That means controlling inflation to maintain purchasing power of rupee, right? Actually, simply we can say controlling inflation, right? Then the next one is number two, achieving and maintaining financial system stability. Achieving and maintaining financial system stability. Okay, actually, we can explain that thing like this. We can ensure the resilience of country, right? Resilience of financial infrastructure of the country, right? Yeah, we can actually ensure the resilience of financial infrastructure. That is achieving, maintaining financial system stability, right? Okay, we are moving to the next question. Those are two main objectives, right? But you should make sure, you should remember there are functions, main functions and sub functions of central banks, right? These are actually main objectives, right? Not the functions. Right, next one. State the differences between savings accounts and fixed deposit. It was kind of a easiest question, no? Actually, it is a wastage of time to discuss this matter. Right. Anyway, let's discuss. Right. So there are features in savings accounts and fixed deposits. Right. Actually, so since you are discussing differences, you should divide it into a table. Right. So actually, you can take first feature is maturity. Right. So in savings accounts, they don't have a maturity date, right? In savings accounts, they don't the savings accounts don't have any maturity date, but fixed deposits, it is having uh, it was having a maturity date, right? Maturity period, right? Then next one, withdrawal flexibility, right? You can anytime you can withdraw your money in your savings account without hesitation. And for fixed deposits, right, funds cannot be withdrawn prematurely without a penalty or lost in interest, right? If you are taking your money back from a fixed deposit, right, you should definitely have to pay some penalty or your interest will be losing, right? Then another thing that we can take interest rate levels, right? For savings accounts, the interest rates are actually quite low, but fixed deposits, uh, you are getting uh, actually uh, higher interest rates, right? Then another thing that we can take savings accounts, right? Savings accounts, we can't use that as a collateral when you are taking debt, right? Actually, but fixed deposit certificate, we can take as a collateral when we are taking debts, right? When you are taking loans, right? We can use fixed deposit certificate as a collateral, right? Okay, then, yeah, we are discussing now. The next thing that we have to discuss is mention two similarities between licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks. Ah, so here it's asking similarities, no? So I saw one student have written again differences, right? So make sure to read the questions first, right? The earlier question that the question is asking differences. The one who have written the answer, think again. It was asking about differences. No, it was asking about similarities, right? Just read the question first, right? Always have a clear mind on the questions, right? Okay, what are the similarities? Licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks, right? First one, right? Registration and license status, right? How the registration and license status was doing, both the companies registrations and license status, licensing is doing by the central bank, right? That is one similarity, right? Then next one is uh we are discussing actually licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized bank, no? Then the next similarity is both categories. Yeah, licensing we have discussed now. Then and actually we can write down both both licensed specialized banks and licensed commercial banks are overseeing or the controlled by central bank, right? Not only the registration, right? Not only the starting, right? But also controlling is also done by central bank, right? And another similarity, right? Another similarity that we can write down is both the banks are actually getting savings and fixed deposits, right? Both the banks, both the saving commercial banks and specialized banks are getting savings and fixed deposits, right? And also you can say, right, both the savings, both the commercial banks and specialized banks are giving interest rates for their deposits, right? So those are similarities between licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks, right? Then the next question, right? Four factors that should be considered when depositing money in finance company, right? So where the four factors that should be considered when depositing money in finance company is first thing that you should check whether it was a registered company, right? You should check whether it was a registered company or not, right? Then the next one, you should actually check the financial stability and credit ratings of that company, right? You should actually check the registration and wait, students. Okay, the next thing that you should discuss, you should consider when you're going to invest your money, interest rate offered, right? You should check definitely interest rate offered by that in the financial company, right? Financial organization. Then customer service and branch network. Customer service and branch network. You should check whether the customer whether there was a proper customer service and branch network. Okay, the next thing that you should check whether when you are investing your money, yeah, the customer service and branch network, right? You should check whether if that financial organization is having branches near you, right? Then it will be convenient to you, right? Okay, these are the things that we are considering when you are investing money in a finance company, right? Okay, then name two main functions of primary dealers, right? First function of primary dealer is bidding in the primary market, right? They have right to bid in the primary market, right? Primary market is the market that the investors are directly issuing their shares to the market, right? So these primary dealers, actually commercial banks, are having that right to bid in the primary market, right? We can describe that thing like this: directly purchasing government securities, treasury bills, bonds at auctions conducted by central bank, right? Primary dealers are having that authority, right? Primary dealers are having the authority to directly purchasing government securities, right? So, students, I think my mic is having a less power, then it was not working. I think you are listening. You can listen to the sounds of the surrounding, right? Don't worry, right? We are having just few questions now. Then the use of checks and reduce with the so we are discussing the the other function of primary dealers. We have discussed the first function, bidding in primary market. Then next one is creating a secondary market. Next function is creating a secondary market. Creating a secondary market. Creating a secondary market. Acting as market makers by buying and selling those government securities, right? So you can write acting as the market makers by buying and selling those assets that they purchase in the primary bidding, right? Okay, they are maintaining a secondary market. Primary dealers can maintain a secondary market, right? Then the next question that we are going to discuss is the use of checks has reduced with the increasing popularity of card usage. State two reasons that may have influenced this, right? Now, right, since there was electronic money, right? Cards, right? It means cards. The usage of checks are uh, actually of checks become minimized. Right now, the businesses are not using checks, but big organization have to use checks definitely, right? Since they are having current accounts, right? They are using checks, but the day-to-day the business that they are doing day-to-day transactions, right? They are using these e-money or the cards for convenient, right? Okay, the two reasons we can write down is it was asking two reasons, no? Yeah. First one is convenience and security, right? It was convenient to do the transactions through these cards, right? Since think write a check, right? If you have written a wrong letter or something, if you have written a wrong character, right, definitely that check will be rejected by the bank, right? Then your transaction is not happening, right? So actually the cards are actually very safer, right, and convenient, very easy to use. Then the next one, immediate settlement velocity, right? So some checks actually take some time to settle, right? But these cards we can settle real time payment. We can do real time payments, right? Payments are settling in real time, right? But these checks are taking much time, right? Then we are moving to the next question. State two ways in which insurance contributes to the survival of business, right? One way is insurances are giving financial compensation for losses, right? Financial compensation for losses, right? Next one that we can write is minimizing uncertainty and business stress. Minimizing uncertainty and business stress. Minimizing uncertainty and business stress. Then the next one. I hope you have written down that one. The next one, we are moving to the next question. Commercial banks insure their borrowers, and a person who obtained housing loan of 10 million from such a bank died in road accident when the outstanding balance was 7.5 million. Based on the above incident, give examples for the examples relevant to the following concepts. What is risk then? Risk is possibility of threat, right? Possibility of threat. You can give the example, right? Here, what the possibility, the potential death of the borrower during the loan repayment, right? You can write the example as uh, write example for risk as potential death of the borrower during the loan payment repayment period, right? Then the damage, right? If I'm speeding up, please ask from me to slow the space I'm telling, right? So anyway, we are moving to the damage, right? The physical occurrence of manifestation of the hazard, right? Write down the physical occurrence or manifestation of the hazard. Actually, that is the actual harm that caused to the property or something, right? Then damage is the physical occurrence of manifestation of hazard. As an example, we can say the road accident resulting in borrower's death, right? The road accident resulting in borrower's debt, right? When you're writing this kind of a question, actually you should write the proper correct examples from this case, right? Since there's a case, right, you should write the proper examples, right? Then next one, incurred risk. Incurred risk is here the specific risk covered by the policy contract, right? The specific risk covered by the policy contract. As an example, write down, you can write death by accident during the term of mortgage protection policy. Death by accident during the term of mortgage protection policy. Okay, then we are moving to the loss, right? Write down the actual measurable financial impact resulting from the damage. The actual measurable financial impact resulting from the damage. Resulting from the damage. Write down examples. The outstanding loan balance of 7.5 million that needs to be settled, right? This is the loss, right? The outstanding loan balance of 7.5 million that need to be settled. Okay. So you might think that no losses for the company, no losses for the commercial bank, but there's a loss for the insurance company, no? So they have to pay that 7.5 million to the bank, right? So that is a loss, right? Okay. Now we have discussed all the four questions in part one, right? Then we have to discuss part two, right? So right? You see how much time that one single question is getting, right? So what you can do is just write the answers, and next time please send me your question paper, right? Then I can check your answers and I can give you a feedback and also give you marks, right? Then you can check what kind of level, what is the level that you are in, right? Then you can reduce your mistakes going forward, right? Okay, then let's wind up the session for today. If you have any questions, please ask from me now, right? You can just send me a text or something, right? Just ask me the questions. If you don't have any questions, we can wind up the session. Okay, since there is no questions, shall we wind up the session? Mm-mm-mm. Okay, then I stop recording. Then yeah, see you in the next day. Tomorrow we are having the class, right? We are having the revision class.